talking about some news before I get into some gaming on this on today's stream. It is Friday, January 11th. Happy New Year again to all of those who might not have seen my last video. But let's jump right in. Lots of things happened this week in video games. So this week started off pretty normally. I started rolling through, thinking that the big piece of news was just going to be some CES coverage, the Consumer Electronics Show showcase. I forget what CES stands for. Feel free to comment below. I thought I knew what was going to happen, what was going on, and then all of a sudden a bomb dropped yesterday, Thursday, January 10th. Bungie and Activision have broken up. I believe... I don't know what to say. Well, I do know what to say. This is crazy. I didn't think things were at quite that level of tension that you would see something like this happen. I had known that, I think I'd seen a couple reports talking about financials and Bungie and Destiny not hitting its financial goals, and Activision being kind of frustrated with that. And, Bungie being frustrated by Activision forcing microtransactions in their game. Although, understanding it from the publishing side, I don't know if that's always the case. But both sides seem frustrated for a long time. The cool news coming out of this was Bungie get to keep the Destiny IP, and I hope they will continue to support the game. So I don't think Activision's really crying over their loss because, they think of Destiny 2 as a failure and not hitting, or they think of Destiny as a failure not hitting their financial goals. But I definitely think Destiny can be profitable. It has been a roller coaster ride for us as consumers, playing through the game. The first one launched to a pretty resounding meh, but the shooting and combat always felt good, but the story was a little lackluster. Then successive DLCs made the game stronger and stronger and stronger as they went on. And then Destiny 2 launched, and it was a even worse meh than Destiny 1 launched. So, and then they went along and they released Forsaken, and that was an awesome DLC. Kind of brought the Destiny 2 community back. But as far as what does this mean for the long term, does a self-published Destiny 3, I wrote about this in my email, does a self-published Destiny 3 by Bungie mean that I'm going to buy it? I said no. I don't think so. I've been on that roller coaster, and I think, maybe shedding the shackles of your corporate overlord will make you freer and have be able to make them have a better game. But I've been along the journey, and while I still think it's one of the best PC shooters as far as the feel of shooting in that game, I think it is one of the best on the market. But does that mean that I'm going to, snap by Destiny 3? No, it doesn't. Not because I think Bungie is bad or that Activision was helping in any way, but just because I've played the Destiny games, and so far they've been up and down. They've been hit or miss for me. So yeah, crazy bomb dropping. Really cool that Bungie get to keep the Destiny IP. Apparently, it was built into the contract. If they ever split ways, then Bungie would keep it. But you saw it with the Silent Hills and the Metal Gears of the world. Kojima leaves Konami, and he doesn't get to keep his IP. So the fact that Bungie left and were able to keep their IP is pretty cool. So I'm really glad to see that. But yeah, just a crazy bombshell dropped yesterday. Activision and Bungie breaking up. It was pretty big. I do think that Activision might suffer a little bit. I mean, I remember pulling a couple reports over the past couple years, and in 2017 they launched 2 games. Activision. I mean, that's not counting Blizzard, which they have a long cycle too, and they're not launching games every year either. But and provided that one of those titles was one of those titles is the biggest title in video games of all time. But just they've cut their title count in half. Now, the one title they have is really big, but the fact that they don't produce as much as you would think. I mean, I would assume they're profitable. Activision's still the second biggest gaming company on the planet, but yeah, I'm curious as to why it wasn't profitable enough to keep it. I don't think this was a good move on Activision's part, but they've got Call of Duties to crank out, so maybe they don't care what little old me thinks about it. But cool, crazy bombshell happened yesterday. But like I said, I was going to talk about CES a little bit. There was an Anthem gameplay trailer. I don't think there was a really cool Anthem gameplay trailer at the brought to you by NVIDIA. Anthem and NVIDIA have partnered up, and as part of their partnership, if you buy the latest GTX video card, you can get Anthem for free. I think that video card costs like $500 or $350, somewhere in that range. But you get free games. You've seen this before with, I think they've done it with Witcher. They've done it with Arkham Knight. They've done it with a couple other game series. So nothing crazy new. I think they're also partnered with Battlefield 5. So it must be an EA partnership. So you can get, if you buy a $500 graphics card, you can get a free $60 game. So do with that what you will. GameSpot also put together a cool, nice recap of all the cool things that you could have seen at CES. They even started off by saying, like, CES isn't a gaming convention or showcase, but a lot of gaming people and personalities and companies are typically there because you can't have a lot of PC games or a lot of gaming without the components, and that's what CES really shows off, is the screens and the PC parts, and NVIDIA, AMD are always there showing off what they can do with the latest graphics cards. GameSpot put a pretty good recap together. I'll put that in the link down below. What else was there? Oh, there was finally showing off keyboards for the Xbox. So that's coming to life. So if you want to get your keyboard support for your Xbox One, then feel free to check that out. Next, Amazon is starting its own gaming subscription service, or it's trying to work on game streaming somehow. It's always been a crazy thing to try and figure out because of latency issues. Microsoft's working on it. I think Google's working on it, where you could buy a console, or you buy server space, like on a server, and they've trying to figure out how latency works so that they can make sure the game responds as quickly as as you press a controller. I don't know. I'm kind of weirded out about this. I like having a console that I can see in my living room, but the Netflix. You have to know that the Netflix of gaming has been a part of many startup companies and has now been trickled up to all the bigger companies are trying to figure it out, because the Netflix of gaming can potentially flip the gaming universe on its head, or how you play video games on its head, just like Netflix kills Blockbuster, right? And Redbox and all those other kind of companies. So Amazon working on the Netflix of gaming. You heard it here first. There's a lot of drama going on at the heads of companies recently. I know the CFO of Blizzard flipped, went to Netflix, speaking of Netflix. And then the CEO of Activision gets canned or something like that. I forget what the second part of that is. But now the CEO of Gearbox gets into water for I don't know if it's embezzling, but just blatant personal spending on the company's dime, $12 million worth. It's crazy. Just swiping his company card to pay for what was some of the gun club memberships was something that racked up to the total of how he spent $12 million. the name Randy Pitchford should. I'm sorry, that does like I know I recognize the name. I just don't know from what. Maybe just because Randy Pitchford has been at Gearbox forever. But yeah, that's the CEO of Gearbox who's been running up the bills. So, what the heck is going on over there? And just the heads of companies, like, was 2018 such a bad financial year for video games that the companies just have to can all their execs? I don't understand what's going on. But if you have any information, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Also, heard that the president of Nintendo is talking about no longer producing consoles. Just a simple blurb. I don't remember word for word what happened, but I saw the article that just said, Nintendo not thinking about doing consoles. I could kind of see that. I've seen, their attempt, like the Switch is awesome. It's a little novel. I mean, I'm a super fanboy, so I'm not going to say it's novel, but I think that like Nintendo is just going to be a little bit behind the times because I don't think they have the processing and manufacturing capabilities to like make a next gen console. And I never thought I don't know if I never thought they could, but eventually I could see. It's going to be a weird day when we see like Mario on PlayStation. That'll be weird, but I can see a day in the future where that happens. Or Mario on PC. We already got Mario on phones, so just the talk of Nintendo no longer creating consoles was like and then I could see that. That was my reaction because I like the Switch. I think it's an awesome console. I think it's going to be successful, across however long they keep producing it. I think it's an awesome console, but it's not going to be the PlayStation of the world. I think they've even done studies about like the Nintendo Switch is like everyone's second pick console. So just something to think about. This is funny too. This is in the same week. The Wii U on like eBay and stuff like that, like third-party retailers, like just shot through the roof. Like all the collectors now that I think it's been like 9 or 12 months since Nintendo stopped producing Wii U's, and so all the collectors of the world are now like scrambling to try and find a mint condition Wii U, and the things on eBay went for like $500 or something crazy, and it's like, what? I sold my freaking Wii U for like $100 to a guy out of the back of my car. Like, I'm just so surprised that the Wii U is like now this collector's item, even though it was like a resounding flop. It's just so funny how the third-party retailer and like collectors, I know collectors like, can just flip to make something that wasn't popular again. Really weird. And then, last but not least, PlayStation released its top 10 downloaded games this year for 2018. The leader was, and I'm sorry to say, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, followed by Red Dead Redemption 2. I was really thinking that Red Dead would have gotten the top slot, especially with everybody who pre-downloaded the game because the game was like a bajillion gigabytes. I figured Red Dead Redemption 2 would have been the most downloaded game. Also, I don't like seeing Call of Duty at the top of lists because I'm tired of it. But that's a personal bias, and I need to get over that maybe. After that was Marvel Spider-Man, which also hit its 9 million units sold. So congratulations to everybody who worked on Marvel. That's an awesome benchmark. Followed by God of War and Grand Theft Auto 5. And then rounding out the list is the typical people, NBA 2K19, FIFA 19, Monster Hunter World, which I played and loved, Far Cry 5, and then Madden NFL 19, also rounding out the top 10 list. They also have lists about PSVR and free-to-play games to see which ones of those, but cool to see a top 10 list for that. And that's it for the weekend news report. Like I said, I'm going to be producing these on Friday, so if you're on my YouTube or on my Twitch channel watching me live, I appreciate you watching me here. If you're watching this on my YouTube, feel free to check me out when I'm on my Twitch channel live. I enjoy putting these together and hope you enjoy seeing the content. If there's anything you think I missed this week, feel free to comment below and tell me all the things you thought I missed about what happened in video game news today, this week, January 11th. Thanks very much, and I hope you enjoy. Bye.